In today's video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 tips to help you get the most out of your Insta360 X3. Everything from how to shoot the best footage, the best accessories, and the best export settings for Instagram and TikTok. So let's get started. If you're using the Insta360 X3 to make videos for Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, then these are the best video settings that I personally use and recommend. Set the video resolution to 5.7K to get the most amount of detail in your 360 video. Set the frame rate to 30 frames per second to get the smoothest video possible, and it's also the minimum frame rate recommended by Instagram. Set the color profile to standard. Standard is a good hybrid between log and vivid. Standard color is not as flat as log, and is not as punchy as vivid, and standard gives you the most natural looking colors straight out of the camera, which you can either post on social media straight away, or you can add adjustments and filters to tweak the color grade in the Insta360 app. Insta360 cameras are pretty good at picking the white balance automatically, but if you want to be a pro, set the white balance in daylight to 5000 Kelvin. And if the preview is looking too cool or too warm, then just adjust the white balance slider left and right until it looks more natural. Finally, set the sharpness to low. Because the X3 still has small image sensors, there will be noise and grain in your video. When the sharpness is set to low, the X3 will not sharpen the video, and this keeps the video relatively clean. When the sharpness is set to medium or higher, then the X3 will sharpen the video. It will also sharpen the noise and grain, and that just makes your video end up looking even worse. If you get blurry video in low light, then it's because your shutter speed is set too low, and if you get noisy video in low light, then it's because your ISO is set too high. So to set the correct ISO and shutter speed in low light, you must use manual exposure settings. If you want to learn the proper method to set the correct manual exposure settings, then check out my manual exposure cheat sheet in the video description. But in this video, I'm going to give you a quick hack to get the best results in low light. If you are casually walking around with your selfie stick to see the winter lights, then set your shutter speed to 1/120th of a second. And if you are going on a fun fair ride or doing something with a little more extreme motion, then set your shutter speed to 1/240th of a second. If you are seeing light flickering in your video, then drop the shutter speed from 1/120th of a second to 1/100th of a second, or drop the shutter speed from 1/240th of a second to 1/200th of a second, and then the light flickering should go away. If your video is too dark, then you can boost the ISO from 100 to 200 to 400 until the video is bright enough. If your ISO is set to 400 and the video is still too dark, then unfortunately there is just not enough light around you. You can bring external lights to make up for the lack of light, or you can boost the ISO to 800 and above, but by boosting the ISO above 400, you will introduce plenty of noise and grain into your video. My favorite power solution for the X3 is the fast charging hub and 2 spare batteries. I find that 3 batteries is more than enough to get through a day of filming, but on the rare occasion I do need extra power. I am always carrying around a 10,000 mAh power bank with me, so I can charge the battery inside the X3, and I find this the best setup to get all day power in a small setup and keep my backpack lightweight. To get the best internal audio quality out of your X3, switch the audio setting to stereo. There is wind noise reduction mode, but in my test so far, you can still hear the wind noise and the audio quality of your voice is reduced, so you might as well just stick to stereo mode. Also, keep the X3 around 30 centimeters away from your mouth. Try and project your voice towards the X3 loud and clear, and this will help the X3 pick up your voice clearly. Here is some sample audio from the internal mics of the Insta360 X3, and I have the X3 around 30 centimeters away from my mouth. I personally don't use direction focus because it limits how you can reframe the video. So for example, let's say I'm walking and talking with the X3 and I'm talking to the front lens. When I reframe the video to look at myself talking, the X3 will focus the audio on what's inside the frame and reject the audio outside the frame. So you won't hear any audio on the left, right, and back lens of the X3. Now this is the problem. Let's say I'm walking and talking with the X3 and I point to something happening in the back lens. So in editing, I reframe the video to look at the back lens. The X3 will focus the audio on the back lens and reject the audio from the left, right, and front lens of the X3. So you won't be able to hear what I'm talking whilst the reframe is focused on the back lens. So direction focus is only really useful when you want the audio to follow the reframing. To get the best audio quality out of your X3, then you need to use the Rode Wireless Go 2, the X3 mic adapter, and the Ulanzi PT20. I do have the DJI mics, which I think is much better than the Rode Wireless Go 2, but at the moment there is no official accessory to mount the DJI mic onto the X3 and keep it invisible. To set up the Rode Wireless Go 2 with your X3, first place the Ulanzi PT20 cold shoe under the X3 and mount it onto your selfie stick to hold it in place. Pull out the X3 side door, connect the X3 mic adapter, clip the Rode Wireless Go 2, connect the short 3.5mm audio cable, turn on the Rode Wireless Go 2 and the X3. From my test so far, I get the best audio quality when I set the X3 external mic gain to 0 dB and the Rode Wireless Go 2 gain to -24 dB. Here is some sample audio from the X3 and Rode Wireless Go 2, and this is an invisible setup, as you can see. These settings work well when you're in quieter environments like nature, but if you're going to be in a louder environment where there's large gatherings or like a concert, then you're going to need to adjust these settings much lower. 360 camera lenses are really easy to scratch, and once you scratched one of the lenses, you'll need to send it for repair, which will cost you time and money. The most common reason why newbies scratch their lenses is because they are using a light camera stand with no counterweight and a small tripod base. Your X3 will get blown over by the wind, and I also learned this the hard way many years ago with my first 360 camera, the Samsung Gear 360. The cheapest solution is to get the sticky lens guard, but this will degrade your video quality. Or you can get the Best 360 monopod. It is a camera stand designed especially for consumer 360 cameras. It includes a hefty 500-gram counterweight to reduce the chance of your X3 getting blown over by the wind. It is modular, so you can use the selfie stick on its own when you're on the move. There are two versions, aluminium and carbon fiber, and whichever version you go for, they are both going to keep your X3 safe. So I'll leave a link to the Best 360 monopod in the video description. The Best 360 monopod is made by myself, my own company. So by getting the Best 360 monopod, you are directly helping me support you with more helpful tutorials on this channel. So thank you so much in advance for your support. The best way to avoid a stitch line error showing up in your video is to always make sure that the lens is facing the subject. While you are recording, it's okay to slowly twist the lens so it's always facing the subject at all times. You don't want to twist the X3 too fast whilst you are recording, because this will cause motion blur in your video. The best way to remove fisheye distortion and get rid of the curves in your footage is to use the linear field of view when editing in the Insta360 app. You can use the narrow field of view as well, but the more you zoom into the video, the more resolution is lost. The X3 Quick Reader is the best accessory to manage your Insta360 files between your X3 and your phone. Basically, you take the micro SD card out of the X3 and put it into the Quick Reader, plug the Quick Reader into your phone, and this will load all the Insta360 footage from the micro SD card into the Insta360 app. Now you can edit your Insta360 footage straight away without downloading it to your phone, saving you plenty of storage space and time. You can edit over Wi-Fi as well, but you'll get much faster export times when you connect the Quick Reader to your phone. There are two ways to edit your videos in the Insta360 app. One is using the album editor, and two is using the story editor. The album editor will let you edit a single shot at a time, and the story editor will let you edit multiple shots together into a story. Now there is one major advantage of the story editor compared to the album editor. The story editor will give you higher export settings than the album editor. So whenever I edit my videos, I am always using the story editor. Whatever edits you make to your footage, whether it's in the album editor or story editor, these are non-destructive edits, so it will never affect your original footage. To make a story, go to Stories, create a story, select the footage you wish to edit, and because I already edited this shot in the album editor, the edit will automatically appear in the story editor. When you have finished editing your video in the story editor, tap Export, select the highest video resolution possible, select the highest bitrate for the best video quality possible, tap Export, and wait for your video to export to your phone album. Once the video has exported to your phone album, go to your favorite social media platform and upload the video you just exported. And that's it for today. I hope you found this video useful. Hit the like button if you learned something new. Share this video with a friend who could benefit from these tips. Subscribe for more 360 tutorials, and I will see you in the next video.